Roll it.
I've definitely changed. I think my positions have not moved, but I'm completely done. I mean, totally and completely done with the left versus right game in politics, because it is now just so abundantly obvious that there is something much more sinister that is happening. When we elect politicians, they are on a platform, they say this, they perform, they promise us this is going to be the mandate. I'm going to clean up DC. And then we send them to DC and something happens. Something magical happens. And suddenly that magical thing is that really nothing they said they were going to do happens. It seems to be the same thing that we see over and over again. Politicians selling out the people that voted for them.
Look, we can't save them all. Like Gretchen from Mean Girls said, she can't sit with us. I'm sorry. She walked around with a White Lives Matter t-shirt alongside Kanye West, who also can't sit with us. You don't come back from that. All the millions she made off of grifting, promoting, platforming DJT's ideas, policies. She's part of the reason why he's there. She doesn't deserve grace. She doesn't get our grace. I don't care how big your heart is, put it away. Not her. If you want to open your heart to the other people, the millions who picked him but regret it and are showing the work, go for it. Not Candace Owens. She has a lot of work to do. A ton of work. If she wants to come sit with us, she needs to start giving back. All the money she made off of grifting and ruining our lives, start donating that back. And then, and only then, should we consider letting her come sit with us. But she has a long way to go. If you want my opinion, no, you made your bed. Lay in it. We can't save everybody. Not Candace Owens. You're not crazy.
She is praised by some and rejected by many. Today, we break down why a large number of Black people have disassociated themselves from Candace Owens.
When I told y'all Candace Owens was getting paid to run one of the largest smear campaigns against Kamala Harris, I was crazy, right? But now she's trying to backtrack and blame it on Christianity as to why she no longer supports Trump. It's not Christianity that's got her concerned. It's the fact that they're not paying her anymore, and she thought that her husband in proximity to whiteness and slandering Kamala Harris was going to get her on the up and up with Trump. Promised her a seat, just like they promised everyone else a seat, but guess who didn't get one? Because they're still a Black woman. I don't know why you thought you were the exception. You were not the exception. You were the rule. Forget, you were posting 12 videos a fucking day during the election talking about Kamala Harris and why no one should vote for her. Let's play the video.
But I want to say this, like, quite seriously. 4 years ago, in 2020, I had no kids. It's an incredible thing to think about. I had 0 children, and now I have 3 children. And I'm so serious when I say that I was so concerned about Kamala winning that my husband and I were having serious discussions about what will happen, what can we do, what is our option. And I know that we're not the only family that truly thought about where will we go if
you want to get on here and cry baby tears and say no one told you that Trump was going to be like this. He was never like this. Everybody told you. And you were going to college campuses with fucking Charlie Kirk debating feminist and Black women, calling them wrong and saying they had equal privilege as a white man. They paid you for a job. You did that job. But see, just like everybody else that the Trump administration took that job from, that they were offered during the election, you're not going to get that seat that you wanted. You're not getting the seat in the administration that you thought you were going to get. No Black person ever was, especially not a Black woman. And now you're trying to go back to your other blogging page to try to rekindle some of that money you were making during the election. Not happening, Candace. We know who you are.
Black folks, we need to talk. If you are not Black, keep it pushing. You can stay, but be quiet. Understand this. There's not a lot of things I call on the Black community for, right? Don't y'all let Candace Owens rebrand herself. I don't give a shit. I don't care. She does not fall into the category of the rest of the Black women. Don't let Candace Owens do this again, because when Candace wants to pander to that group of people again, she will damn sure throw the Black community under the bus like she always has. And stop letting Candace throw a few Black facts in front of your face and so you can simply say, oh wow, she's spitting facts. She's not spitting facts. Because anytime she needs a leg up or a boost, she only runs to one community. She does not run to the community that she panders to. When they fired her off them networks, when she was struggling in her career, when she was facing racial discrimination, she went to one group of people. And simply because we seen a black woman, folks supported her. I never supported her, but folks supported her. And now she's trying to say she does no longer support Trump. Okay, cool. And she said, oh, how she didn't see it and how X, Y, and Z. No. Let her sit with her tribe. Let her, she's good in MAGA. Leave her there. Please, leave her there.
Candace Owens. I guess now that there's no longer a market for 12 videos a day bashing Kamala Harris, and that revenue done dried up from those 12 videos a day you were producing, all dedicated to bashing Kamala Harris. I guess since that well has ran dry, and all your tap dancing and Samboing and Uncle Tom into Trump and the white supremacist group didn't pay off either, because you got no position, no seat in administration, not even in the party. And not even your proximity to whiteness with your white husband secured you a place in white supremacist America. So now that they're through with you, now all of a sudden you no longer support Trump. And it's your Christian values that make you two part ways. What has Donald Trump done now that he wasn't doing since he came down those escalators that made you no longer see him as a Christian and therefore can no longer support him? Girl, stop. You made a living, a good, probably 7-figure living, off trashing, demeaning, and demoralizing your fellow black people. You did that. You made a nice living off putting down black people, off going on white ring TV shows and saying that there was no racism in America, that there was no police brutality against the black people. You and Kanye even came out with those White Lives Matter shirts, remember? Doing the George Floyd movement, Black Lives Matter, when we all sit up and watch this man lose his life to a white racist cop. And we said enough was enough. Black lives matter. No one said white people's lives never mattered. But white people's lives were not being snuffed out at the rate that black people's lives were by the police. That was the point of the Black Lives Matter. Did you forget that? Did you also forget the time you got up and said that we didn't deserve those program or those bills and those laws set into place to guarantee us seats in these colleges? Did you not forget the time you sit up there and said we would get those positions and then flunk out because we didn't have the academic ability to handle, to be able to make it through college? That's what you said. You said that, you let it be known that the only thing that was holding black people down was black people. You had disdain for impoverished black people. You even went so much as to say with your full chest, you didn't even want to be a part of the black community. When they were asking you, ain't you afraid you're not going to get invited to the cookouts? You said, or you were going to be rejected by your black culture. You said you didn't even want to be a part of the black culture. Remember that? Remember that. This is when you were all in yourself. You were so deeply embedded in the white ring, and you was making the rounds on all those all those right-wing news TV casts, Fox, Newsmax, One Nation, all that stuff, they're all dedicated to racist white people. You stayed on those newscast shows. You stayed on them. And what did you stay on there doing? Why were you such a hot commodity on that circuit? Why did you make every TV show, every newscast, every Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, what's that chick name? Laura Ingraham? You were on all of them shows. You stayed on their shows. And you know why you were such a hot commodity? Because you were trashing black people every time you went on there. And they needed that to come out of a black person's mouth. And you were more than willing to supply them that. And even after all that sellout, you didn't land one position. Not one position in this Republican Party or in Trump's administration. All that choke out you did of your own people. You didn't understand nothing about black people. You didn't identify with anything black people were going through. We were talking nonsense. We were talking fantasy. It wasn't happening. You were black. It didn't happen to you. So you discarded everybody else's experience. Only thing is, you knew you were discarding it. You knew the shit you was spouting was false. You didn't care. They were paying you handsomely. Why didn't you just save your money up for a rainy day? Then you marry into money. So I know it's not a money issue that you're trying to jump off Trump bandwagon and then bring your ass back over here. We know you set, right? Oh, they paid you nicely to to be the face of black America. Black conservative, I'm sorry, America. You got paid nicely, or did you not? I know you had to get paid to go in there to do what you did. And they had the deep pockets to pay you. So why are you now no longer wanting to be identified and associate over there? What are you doing? Per your own words, you no longer want to be part of the black culture. So what's the point? Remember all that vibrato you had about not identifying with us, not wanting to be a part of us? White lives matter. You went well out of your way to make every circuit that catered to a white racist America. And you went out there and said exactly what they wanted black people to say about their own. So you could validate the way they felt about us. And you served that purpose, and you served it well. So revel in that. Stay over there. Keep doing what you're doing. Go back, match that energy. Go back to that energy. Stay over there. We really don't give a damn what you think, how you feel. We wrote you off years ago. So whether you support Trump or not, it's not a factor to us. It's not. We really don't care about anything you think about or finna do or whatever. We don't care. You cut that cord so long ago. You cut that cord, you severed it, and then you took a hot poker and you sealed it. You know, once you cut that cord, you took a hot red poker and you seared it. Made sure nothing would ever heal or grow there again. You did that. That White Lives Matter shirt, that was a huge part of it. Because the time you did it, really showed you don't give a damn about black people. All you worship was that money they were paying you and that they let you in the club. You sat around them white people talking about black people. You sat there with your head high. You were smiling. You didn't have one iota. You were swallowing. You were eating your dinners. You were drinking your drinks. You were cackling when they laughed. You didn't have one hesitation. You had no problem being in that environment. And then contributed to it by getting up and saying exactly what they wanted to hear. Isn't that still enough for you? You reveled in it. I saw it in your face. You used to talk to people like Roland Martin and Young Turk people, all kind of people. You talked to them folks so bad. Like you were tripling down on your stance. I'm going to need you to keep that same energy. I'm going to need you to continue to feel the way you felt when you said black people couldn't keep up in college, so they didn't need those bills to allow them to be even considered because we couldn't academically handle it. There was no racism in America. There's no police brutality. You didn't even believe George Foreman died from the hands of the cop that unalived him. I'm gonna need you to keep that same energy, because we're gonna keep our same energy that we've had about you since we've had the stomach watch you sitting up trashing us for the entire world to see. Stay over there, baby. You made your bed. What's the matter? Isn't it great again yet? Okay, honey, whatever.
The Candace Owens rebrand is something we all knew was coming. Because one thing our community fully understands is you can talk the way that they talk. You can share the same ideals, the same opinions. You can build an entire fortune off of denigrating the Black community. But when push comes to shove, you're not one of them. And Candace definitely found that out. This is very common. It's very common for the portion of our community that we deem Uncle Toms. You see, somewhere along the lines, somewhere in their life journey, they do become jaded to the things that Black people speak up for. They adopt the mentality, whether it's through their social circles, whether it's through the education that they get, they adopt the mentality that everything that we suffer from in this country is in part, not really in part, is all our fault. Not only are we exaggerating what our pain is in America, we are victim blaming, and we are not doing anything to make things better. People like Candace Owens ignore what Black American culture really is. She spent years talking about us not having one, when in reality, the culture that we have in America is fighting for human rights, putting our mind, body, souls, our lives on the line, so people like Candace Owens can have the opportunities that she has. If it was not for the strength and commitment of Black women throughout history, Candace Owens would have never gotten a chance to build the platform that she built. But she forgot that. She forgot that because she was in pursuit of money. She forgot that because she was in pursuit of power, of influence. And she found that the quickest way to do it was to stand on the backs of her own people. Well, now the people who put her in that position have gotten what they want, okay? Donald Trump's back in office, and they are going to do whatever they can to take advantage of that power. And while they are doing that, they have decided that there is no more room for a voice like Candace Owens. So, of course, what does she decide to do? She does what all of them decide to do. They try to slide back into the good graces of the Black community. Because what most people don't realize until they are rejected by the rest of society is that the most welcoming, accepting, empowering community that exists in America is ours. But, just like the Muskrat highlighted, sometimes that empathy gets taken for granted, and people take our kindness for weakness, and they become very much like Candace Owens. So do I think we will welcome her back with open arms? I highly doubt it. In this day and age, I think we are taking applications to re-enter into the Black community much more seriously. We're doing a lot more. We're doing a much deeper background check before we say, hey, you are forgiven. Because what Candace Owens did for years, was put us in danger. And she never took any accountability for that. Still has yet to do it. So I don't know if this rebrand is going to be as successful as she probably hopes it will be.
Candace Owens has mastered the art of intellectual manipulation. So that Breakfast Club interview with Candace Owens was a hot mess. And I see a lot of y'all blaming Charlemagne, Jess, Envy, or whatever, saying that they should have asked better questions or what have you. But it's not their fault. And here's why. I was having a conversation with someone about this interview, and I wanted to name the behavior that I saw her exhibit. The term that I came up with is intellectual manipulation. Candace Owens has mastered the art of intellectual manipulation. That is where she's able to talk about increments of truth. She will take statistics or, findings from certain articles, research, or whatever. She'll be able to present that, but also pairing it with things that are illogical fallacies, presenting it with dangerous and harmful information that reinforces racism. Well, if you have someone who's arguing against white supremacy, or arguing that white supremacy doesn't exist, arguing that racism doesn't exist in the Black community or what have you, value, and pairing it with these increments of truths and breadcrumbing truths like that, of course you're going to have individuals who might be intimidated and feel like, oh, I can't challenge that because what she's saying is actually facts. And when someone pairs an illogical fallacy with some truth, it makes it a lot more difficult to reject that. I really want to know what y'all think in the comments, though.
Candace Owens was Trump's biggest supporter. I mean, she was in love with him. There's no one out there in the media, in the news, on social media, anywhere who had more love for Donald Trump than Candace Owens. And now, rightfully so, because she is an intelligent person, and intelligent people change their viewpoints and opinions as they get more information, as they see more things. Like, you can have one viewpoint and you can be stuck on it, but then as you're presented with more facts, more information comes your way, and you can dissect that information and then formulate a different opinion based on these new sets of facts. That's what intelligent people do. You don't just go like, nothing will ever change my mind on this, no matter what the fucking truth is. I'm stuck on this. And now we're seeing Candace go after Trump. Again, rightfully so, because Trump is 100% being handled by Bibi Netanyahu, by Israel. We are watching an American president. Like, we always knew that every American president has been a puppet of Israel. Just, it's like a rite of passage for every American president to go to Israel, put on a yarmulke, and do the prayer wall stuff over there and get the pictures. They have to do that. They can't refuse. Like, I've never seen an Israeli prime minister come to America, which is it's a Christian country. But I've never seen an Israeli prime minister come to America, put on a big cross, go to a church, dip his hands in some holy water, cross himself, and do any of that. I've never seen that. But yet, every American president and every American president hopeful has to go to Israel, put on a yarmulke, and do the thing. They have to. And rightfully so, Candace has been calling out Donald Trump for completely giving up America to Israel. And it's always been like that behind the scenes, but now it's in the open. They're not hiding it anymore. It's like they're showing the world, like, hey, this is who runs America. It's this guy, not this guy. This is crazy. And if you love your country, if you love the United States of America like I do, this should piss you off. No foreign government, no foreign entity, no one should have this level of influence over our country. How anyone is okay with that blows my fucking mind. Anyone that says they love this country. It's fucking insane.
Y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. So apparently Miss Candace Owens, hashtag black mascot for the Republican Party, wants to jump ship. Miss Democrats are the real racists, and oh yeah, Miss Slavery wasn't that bad. The same Candace who launched hashtag Blexit to encourage black folks to leave the Democratic Party now is out here doing what? Floating? Okay, so get this, y'all. She got dropped by the Daily Wire for pushing anti-Semitic conspiracies. Yes, accused of spreading the same dangerous rhetoric she used to condemn. Even Robert Shapiro put a gag order on her. That's embarrassing. It's wild and embarrassing. Girl, get your life. Now that the clout checks are drying up and the right has turned their backs on her, she wants to cry, misunderstood black woman. No. Nay. That's not what we gonna do. That's not what we gonna do over here. Go on and ride with your people, girl. Go on and ride with your... You made that bed over there at the Trump Towers. And now that they want you to check out, you want to come crawling back over here? No, shawty. We ain't got no room in the end. You built your whole brand of dragging black people and throwing us under the bus. A bus with a MAGA sticker on the back at that. Let me tell you something, baby. We been peep games, okay? We tried to put you on. But no, you wanted to cash us in for proximity to power. And now that power ain't paying no more, you want to switch lanes. Nah, this ain't no rebrand. Your cookout privileges have been revoked. Lifetime revocation. You a forever bar. she can't come running back to the culture that she cashed in on, y'all. It's a wrap. Let me know what y'all thinking. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's discuss. Because, baby, we get one more historical moment this year. I'm a fan.
Okay, I've seen multiple content creators now talk about how they're unfollowing Candace Owens. And I wanted to give my take on what I think is happening with Candace Owens.
Give my opinions. Obviously, if you guys are listening to the show, I have the same perspectives on BLM, the Me Too movement. I've broadened those opinions. Vaccines haven't changed. Same person. So I'm wondering, where exactly did the pivot occur? And I'm thinking about it. I'm open to the idea of it. And like I said, I did do Howie Mandel's show.
So in her recent YouTube video, she does address the fact that obviously everyone is taking a hit at her, talking about how she's jumping ship, she's changing sides, or she's changing her perspective.
I've definitely changed. I think my positions have not moved, but I'm completely done. I mean, totally and completely done with the left versus right game in politics, because it is now just so abundantly obvious that there is something much more sinister that is happening. When we elect politicians, they are on a platform, they say this, they perform, they promise us this is going to be the mandate, I'm going to clean up DC. And then we send them to DC and nothing happens.
So essentially what she's saying is she's pretty much lost all patience and belief that any politician that we vote into office will actually do what they say they're going to do. And she goes on to address the fact that she says that Kash Patel, before he got elected in, he was talking about how he was going to drain the swamp and how he was going to change the FBI. And then she says that ever since he got into office, he has yet to talk about cleaning the enemy within and cleaning up the deep state, which is what obviously the Trump administration ran heavily on. And she also addresses the fact that President Trump does not talk about how there are deals being made behind the scenes with Israel and possibly going to war with Iran. In her opinion, that is obviously not putting America first. So I wanted to give my thoughts and opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. I don't know Candace Owens personally. I've never spoken to her. I have no relationship with her. And this is just me giving my opinion based on my experience of life and the things that I've gone through. And I will say that for me personally, I still love and respect Candace Owens. I don't agree with everything that she has to say. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the independent thinkers, is that we should respect the fact that we may not agree upon everything that everyone says or how they believe, but we should respect the fact that they're free thinkers. So no, I am not on the train to unfollow Candace Owens. I still respect her. I will still watch her content, but I will give you my opinion of what I think of the whole scenario. So she obviously stated that her viewpoint has changed, that she's no longer for the left or right. She's more in the middle of just, I just want to know the truth. And here's the thing of my experience in life and business, is that life isn't necessarily just black and white. And I feel like that's Candace Owens' stance, is that it's just black or white. And in my opinion, I am not against criticizing the Trump administration. I'm not against criticizing all the people that are a part of the Trump administration. But the reason why I haven't gone heavily into scrutinizing every single move that they've done is because it's been less than 4 months since President Trump stepped into office again. And I know, just like in business, everything takes time, especially when the ship has been steering in the wrong direction. You can't just turn the wheel and expect it to completely maneuver overnight. Because if you move the ship too quickly, you can flip it and cause more chaos versus doing it carefully, slowly, and strategically. So the reason why I am not as critical yet, or maybe never, is because I'm giving the Trump administration time so that they can steer the ship in the right direction. And my stance, and I'm only speaking for me, not everybody else, when I say America first, that doesn't mean completely cut off all of our foreign allies. But what has been proven for many, many decades is that America tends to take care of all of the foreign allies without concern of the American people suffering. And I would like to see that shift happen, where we prioritize America. But I also am aware that in business, you cannot just strictly be America only, because you need allies in business. And sometimes your allies are your greatest enemies, because if you're strategic and smart in how you operate, you don't turn your enemies into complete strangers. You keep them close, because whether you like it or not, in business, there is negotiation, and it's all about playing chess. You may call it manipulation. Some people might call it strategic. Either way, business is not just cut and dry, black and white. So my thought is, I just believe that Candace Owens is standing way too high on this morality code. I respect her for doing that, but she doesn't realize that we're all sinners. And I think her stance is way too harsh on this morality code, because I believe everybody deserves grace and time. Because her going in and gossiping about like Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and Ryan Reynolds, Taylor Swift, all of that, that's considered sinful in the Bible. Again, I got love and respect for Candace Owens. Again, I don't have to agree with everything that she says in order for me to respect her. I respect her because she's willing to speak up and stand behind her words. But the only thing that I have to criticize about the way Candace Owens is coming off lately is she's really kind of honing the holier than thou, my morality is higher than everybody else. And I don't know if she's exactly wanting to come off that way, but that's just my opinion of how she's coming off. But I still love her. I'm still going to follow her. I'm not unfollowing her because I believe that we should be praying for each other. And even though on this app, we all pick on each other, provoke each other because of politics or whatever reason, I just look at it as this is all fun and just sharing. And if you don't like it, don't be on the internet. And if you can't handle criticism, clearly don't make content. I'm not against anyone criticizing me. You know, obviously people make fun of me. People talk crap about me in the comment section. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not going to complain about it. But obviously if you come on my content, I'm going to call you out on it, and you shouldn't have a problem, because if you're willing to talk crap, be willing to take it back. That's my hot take, is that I just feel like whether it's the pregnancy or I don't know, but Candace Owens just dialed down the ego a bit about the morality code, because that's really just the only thing that I'm noticing that has shifted about her attitude. I'm completely on board with you to discover the truth. And if it exposes things that we're not aware of and maybe we were sold bad goods, I am open to that exposure. But sitting there stating that, you know, you're a Christian, your morality, people's morals, you know, they're compromising it for everything else. Just remember that maybe they're compromising it for the moment as a play. Maybe they're compromising it forever. I don't know. But everything in life isn't just black and white. It's strategic, or, you know.
Candace Owens rose to fame as a political commentator, known for her outspoken conservative views. Former librarian who switched sides publicly, criticized the Black Lives Matter movement, frequently blames Black Americans for systemic problems they face, advocate for ideas that may feel aligned more with white conservative interests than Black liberation. But fame does not always equal support, especially not from the communities you claim to represent. Many Black people view Candace Owens not just as a critic, but as a weapon used against them. Minimizing racism, she often downplays the existence of systemic racism, a daily reality for millions. Victim blaming. When Black communities face police violence or economic hardship, Owens often blames Black culture, not the system. Pandering to oppressors. Our rhetoric is frequently used by racist groups to justify their hate without challenging them to change. Disrespect for Black movements. Owens has called movements like BLM a horse, dismissing legitimate pain and activism. When you deny people's lived experience and history, you lose their trust and their respect. Candace Owens represents a phenomenon known as Tokenism, when a few individuals from a marginalized group are elevated to reinforce the status quo. Token figures are often used to say, look, they agree with us, so we are not racist. Their voices are weapons against the broader community. They provide cover for oppressive systems without challenging real power. It is not just disagreement, it is the feeling of betrayal, the sense that she is siding with the very forces hunting our own people. Disagreement is healthy in any community. Black people are not a monolith, but there is a difference between diversity of thought and outright denial of your community's struggles. Healthy debate is about finding solutions. Dismissing systemic racism is seen by many as abandoning the struggle altogether. It is not about silencing conservative Black voices. It is about holding everyone accountable to truth and justice. Candace Owens may speak loudly, but many believe she no longer speaks for them. The real question is not about right or left. It is about truth versus denial, progress versus preservation of injustice. Black people disassociate from Candace Owens because liberation cannot be built on the denial of lived reality. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.